going with our Women Leaders of Love. Hi, I'm Amos-Britt, and we are about to get started with our Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesdays. We are so glad you're here. We've been having a lot of fun with these calls. Let me let some people in right now. I see Tammy's here with us, and Jane has just joined us. Sally's with us. We've got Ann, we've got Kiki. People are pouring in right now. If you want to be a part of the question and answer part of this call and you're not part of my mailing list, you can go to terribritt.com/leaders, get my free Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle, and then you'll be sent the link next week for the live session. But today, enjoy it. If you're on Facebook, we're so glad you're here. You can ask questions or put comments in your Facebook right under the post, and then I will go to it afterwards and respond to anything that you might ask or that you want to share. So again, if you want to be a part of this call on a weekly basis and be a part of the live Q&A that we're about to do in just a moment, then go to terribritt.com/leaders. Or here's something fun you can do. And I don't know if you guys have done this. I am so bad about promoting things. It is not my MO. I have a really fun quiz that I felt guided to create. It's called the Worthiness Quotient Quiz. And it really checks in every area of your life to see if you've claimed your crown, if you've said, yes, I am worthy, and you are letting love in. Most of us think we're letting love in, but we're not. And by doing this quiz, you can get a real good feel as to where you stand. And at the end, I'll send you a report so you can see exactly the breakdown of each area, whether it's relationships, career, whatever. You'll see a breakdown of where you stand on your worthiness quotient, and then some tips and tools to help you begin to shift it. So you can go to that at terribritt.com/quiz. That's TERRIBRITT.com/quiz. And then that will give you the access to the quiz. Is completely free. Then once you're in, if you want to be involved in these calls, you'll get the link next week as well. So I just want to let you guys know that. All righty. So I'm excited because we kind of changed this up last week. If some of you have been with us before, and then Ann says, hi, I'll have to leave a moment because the shop will bring my groceries. I'm glad to be here again after some time, but very fragile. So I try to participate without talking. Okay, Ann, well, we are happy you are here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of you, we're so excited that you're here. If you haven't been here, we've been kind of changing it up. Last week, I felt guided to create more of a space for you to ask questions and to receive healing. So what we do is we start with just a grounding meditation now. Instead of me thinking about what you need, we're going into meditation just to get grounded, and then I open up for questions, whatever you're working on in your life. What I see more often than not, and it's interesting because I'm reading Gabby Bernstein's I'm listening to her new book, Happy Days, and she went through a lot of trauma. And if you're familiar with Gabby, she wrote Spirit Junkie. She's written 9 books. The Universe Has Your Back. She's written all kinds of stuff. And one of the first things that she opens up with is about worthiness. And every spiritual teacher that I've connected with over the years, when I've had people on my radio show, when I used to do my radio show, they all talked about owning your worth is key. The problem is that we don't realize when we haven't owned our worth. And the only way we can tell is by paying attention to what's going on in our lives, in our outer world, our feelings. Do we feel like, oh my goodness, when is it going to be my turn? When is it ever going to get easier? Or I am so tired and exhausted from working so hard. You know what I'm talking about. If it's thoughts that are not joyful and abundant, then there's a sign there from your soul saying you really truly haven't owned your worth in this area, and it's time you did, because you deserve this kind of love. Because when you own your worth, you open up to receive more love. You let love in. And that's really something that I've been noticing a lot of in myself, is when I let love in and when I don't. It is so interesting to pay attention to, am I letting love in? No, I am really resisting. And I tell you, it was in my face over the weekend. I was in Florida taking care of my 2-year-old grandbaby. She's almost 3. She's going through a leap right now, a cognitive leap. But you could see when she would go into resistance. We're at the zoo. I took her to the zoo. And all of a sudden, I see her just slowing down. I'm like, come on, baby, let's go over here. And then she walks slower. And I'm thinking, what is she doing? I've never seen her do this. Well, this morning it hit me. And I said, oh my gosh, she's showing us how we resist letting joy, letting love, letting abundance in. I mean, here we're at the zoo, the place she wanted to go so badly. We're there. It's beautiful outside. It's not hot. It's not even that sunny. So it felt really, really, really good, right? To be in this space. It was with early in the morning, the animals were out, they're roaming around, they're playing. I mean, and this is a big area that they have like a lot of open areas. So where you can go on a train and see them out in open land, which is awesome, right? I mean, there are gorillas out there on this island, and I'm not a big fan of zoos, but I think at least it exposes people to the animals and let them learn to love them. So I have mixed feelings on it. But the point is that watching her go into resistance, I was like, what is she doing? Well, today it hit me. I don't know what I was doing. And it hit me. It was like, oh my gosh, she was going into resistance. Her mama had been really busy. Her dad was out of town. So there hadn't been a lot of time for her. I mean, Mackenzie was trying to make as much time as she could. And this child was struggling a little bit. And so instead of letting love in and enjoying this beauty that was all around her, she resisted it. Instead of allowing the fun and the playfulness to come in, she resisted it. So we do this, right? We resist letting love in. So in our grounding meditation today, we're going to just let love in. We're going to give ourselves permission to go there. And then I want you, as we're going into that space, to just check in with yourself and ask, where am I not letting love in? Am I letting love in? What am I doing? Am I resisting love? What's going on here, right? So I want to invite you to do that. And then, of course, we're going to open up for questions after the grounding meditation. And in the question and answer period, for those of you on Zoom, you get to ask those questions. As you know, we'll do some healing work, we'll do some coaching. What's really cool about when we go into the question and answer period is that if you are brave enough to raise your hand and ask a question, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping everyone else. And then often, or as we saw last week, and what I do when I do speaking and stuff, is that as I take you through the coaching and sometimes a meditation to help you look at stuff, everyone else around you can do it too. So if you're the person that's just sitting back and watching, take advantage of the opportunity for the healing. And this is what's so cool about doing it this way, because there are several people who get to ask questions through this period, but everybody gets the gift of it. Everyone can do the healing work. So it's awesome. I love it, love it, love it. All righty, let me see if there's anything that needs to be said, anything else. I think we've got a nice little group in here. So let's dive in. Let's go into this meditation and let love in, because we all deserve it. And it's what it means to be a woman leader of love. So if we let love in, I just want to clarify this. When we let love in, we're letting ourselves be nurtured. We're allowing ourselves to be supported. We can get guidance. We can get out of emotional chaos. We get out of chaos in the sense of running ourselves to death, because when we let love in, we allow ourselves to be moved into a higher vibration. We say yes to being nurtured, and then that's when the universe shows up. So we want to let love in. So be aware of that in this conversation or in this meditation we're about to do. Are you letting love in? Let it in now, and then let whatever areas are popping up in your mind that you might want to ask questions about as far as where you're not letting love in, let that be a guide for you. Or if you have something else that you want to talk about or have an aha or share something, then by all means do that too. Okay, so let's do this. So I want to invite you right now to close your eyes. Let's take a moment to get grounded. Breathing in through the nose, holding it, and then releasing. Let's do that again. Take another deep breath in. Hold it and release. This time, let's do it again, but I want you to tighten all the muscles as you breathe in. So tighten your toes, your calves, your legs, your arms, your hands, your fists. Just breathe in really hard. Hold it and then release. That is so relaxing. Give yourself permission to let love in right now. Say, I let love in. And as you do, just visualize, as we always do, opening up the crown of your head and imagine this waterfall of love flooding in. I mean, it is pouring into every cell of your body, and you're imagining every cell opening up. It's like there's these little, I think of little Pac-Man, if you remember Pac-Man, and them opening up their mouths and going, yes, I'm letting love in. Let that come in to every cell of your body. Let those cells absorb the love. Let that love that's flooding into the top of your head and through your jaw and the back of your head and into your neck, into your shoulders, down your arms and out your hands, allowing that love to move all the way through your body, down your legs, out the balls of your feet. And as it's continuing to flood this way, I want you to imagine that any stuck energy that blocks you from letting love in, any resistance is releasing, okay? It's just letting go. You can even say, I let go of my resistance right now. I'm letting love in. Feeling that moving all the way through your body, breathing into this. Allowing that energy now to flood into your aura, expanding your aura out beyond your fingertips as you were to extend your arms out and all the way in front of you, behind you, on either side of you, letting that energy be washed on the inside of your aura and on the outside, this beautiful egg of energy around you. Really washing this and letting every aspect of your aura, every bit and piece of it be washed with this loving energy. This is letting love in, because we hold people's energy around us. So allow that energy to come through. And then imagine your grounding that begins at the outer edges of your aura and at the hip levels, extending down to the center of the earth. Allowing that grounding cord to go down to the center of the earth so that you are fully connected. And now any energy that has been washing out, any resistance, open up the bottom of your grounding and send that down that grounding cord, or the bottom of your aura and send it down. Breathing into this. Breathing into this. Getting so grounded. And let's just take a moment to say hello to our inner child. So imagine that little kid inside of you running up to you and just grabbing you, because you're taking this time to be nurturing and loving and kind. Just imagine that, okay? Imagine that you're looking at her going, I love you so much and I'm so glad you're here. And we're letting love in. And then you can even call in your guides around you. Let love in here. Let them come in and surround you with healing light and love, and say, I give myself permission to receive this love. I let love in. Breathing into this. Ooh, let it flood through your body, sinking deeper into this love, sinking deeper into this connection. It feels so, so good. Saying yes to it. Yes, 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 yes. I let love in. Woo! All righty. So when you're ready, let's come back into this space. Oh, that felt good. I can do that with you guys. The whole time I'm guiding you, I'm doing it with you. And the difference between when you start to the point where you finish that and where hopefully it continues is immense. I mean, you can feel out of your body, you can feel disconnected. And as soon as you start doing that and recognizing that you are not alone, that you have this love around you and it's up to you to let love in, such a huge shift. So let's open up for questions. I want to support you today, as we always do on our Own Your Worth Wednesdays. So if you are on our Zoom call, as you know, the ones are on Zoom who can ask the questions. Again, if you're on Facebook, Feel free to post a question and I will come to it afterwards. If you want to be a part of the Zoom portion of this every week, you can go to terribritt.com/leaders, get my free ebook and guided meditations, or you can go to terribritt.com/quiz and take the Worthiness Quotient quiz. So if you're on the Zoomcast and you want to ask a question, you can go down to reactions. Oh, click on that and there will be a button inside that to say raise your hand. If you're wanting to raise your hand and you can't figure it out, you can unmute yourself and just jump in and say, hey, Terri, I have a question. So let's see if anybody wants to jump in here. Nobody's raising your hands. Remember, it is, oh, there's Jane. Hey, Jane, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. You just click on the microphone. You know how to do it. Okay. Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Today I'm feeling very good.
Yay.
But I was triggered this weekend.
Okay, good. Well, I say good, but that just means you're being called to go deeper into loving yourself. So what happened?
Exactly. I was watching a serial, and in the dialogues, it was like between a mother and her daughter or her son, I don't remember. She said, you will never deceive me. And this made me cry. Like, I was like, yeah, I felt, I don't know, sad.
So was it the mother saying it to the daughter or the daughter saying it to the mother? Just so I'm clear.
The mother saying to the daughter.
Okay. And what did it trigger? Did you feel like you've deceived your mother and maybe in your life, or do you feel like, I mean, I don't know if you have a daughter or not. So what did it bring up for you?
Yes, I think I'm thinking I deceived my mother.
Oh, so in what way? Do you mind sharing?
I don't know why I think like that. I think I thought this in the past, and now I don't like to think like this. But yes, it's because I'm taking another path, and the path I had before, it was like a classical path, which is like the normal path that people have. And yes, now it's kind of, I want to have my own path.
Your own. You're saying thought? Is that what you're saying?
Path, like career path.
Carrier pot, like smoking pot, like weed?
No, career, the work, the working way, you know, to have my own, because what I had before, it's like a typical career ladder. And then, yes, now I want to change and do something more related to what I like.
So when you say you feel like you deceived your mother, did your mother have these ideas about the way you should be and you're deviating from it?
And she never expressed that. So maybe it's subconscious, because I was always free to take my own decisions.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay. So I want you to do something with me, and if you will, and anybody else who has this same story, feel free to do it with us. So I want to invite you right now, Jane, to just close your eyes, go back into that meditative state, visualizing opening up your crown that connects you to your higher self, breathing into this and relaxing, calling up your inner child, that little girl inside of you. And I want you to ask her, what is she afraid will happen if she deviates from what she thinks your mother wanted?
It's that she doesn't love me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there a time that you could remember where maybe you did deviate from what your mom wanted you to do and you got in trouble? Anything like that? Anything come to mind?
Yes, when I I didn't have a job. She was kind of rude.
So she was judgmental.
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to check in with yourself. When you didn't have a job, was there a gift at that time that you didn't have a job? What did you learn from that time?
At that time, I think I didn't learn a lot, but now I know, yes.
Okay, but it doesn't matter what you learned then. So what did you, when you look back on it and you say, this was the gift of that, not having that job, what did you take from that? If you look back on it and you say, what was the silver lining in that?
Yeah, I have to step out of my comfort zone.
Oh, wow. That's huge. That's huge. Okay, what a tremendous part of your divine journey, right? You were listening to your heart and you're like, I have to step out of my comfort zone. Now, I want you to do this with me. I want you to look at your mother and imagine that her inner child is standing there. And I want you to imagine what scared her about you stepping out of the comfort zone.
This, I don't know, maybe the unknown, not
Yeah, the
knowing.
unknown. It's very scary, right? To do that, right? So I want you to do one more thing. I want you to ask her spirit, that little girl inside of her, you can use her as the voice of the spirit. What was the gift I gave you, Mom, by doing this?
Accepting myself the way I am.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's anything to feel guilty about?
Oh,
It's not, is it?
yeah.
So can you
And
see?
to accept my choices.
Yeah. And can you imagine how freeing it would be for your mom if she had that same kind of acceptance of herself? Right? So when you are feeling like you have to hide from her, you're actually saying, okay, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt you, Mom. I'm afraid I'm going to cause you pain and suffering, and then you're going to blame me and you're not going to love me anymore. But we all know that love doesn't come from out here. It comes from in here, right? We have to find that peace and that joy in here. When you deviate and do differently than what she wants, you're finding that. Okay, you went out of your comfort zone. That is huge. Okay, that is there are so many people who don't have the courage to do that, and that is huge. So I just want to say yay for you, because that is really, 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 really big. Okay, the fact that you did it, and she might have been judgmental. She was judgmental because sounds like she's lived in a box, and that's her safety net. She's like, this is what works, this is okay. But yet she doesn't have freedom, because if she's got judgment on you, then I guarantee you she's got 10 times more judgment on herself.
Yes.
Okay, right?
Yes.
So you've given her a gift, Jane. You've given her a tremendous gift for her to watch it. So I would encourage you to let go of the guilt, quit worrying about that I'm deviating from what my family's stuff is or what the beliefs are, because you just saw that you showed her the gift of accepting oneself, right? You saw it for yourself.
Yes.
Is that right? How does
So
that make
is it really guilt that I have?
Well, yeah, because if you have rules in your mind that I need to make mama happy, that I need to not rock the boat, or I have to play by these rules and conform, when we start deviating from that, we're going, our guilt will go, whoa, don't do that, stay safe, right? It kind of plays that part to make us fit. And what your soul is doing, saying, no, let go of it, because that's the little kid inside of you trying to win her mother's love. And as a woman leader of love, that's not how you experience love. You have to find it within. So you choosing to stand in your truth and love yourself is giving your mother a tremendous gift. So maybe, just maybe, she might find a little bit more of her truth in this lifetime. So it's guilt because that's the way you were wired, but the guilt is serving no purpose other than to shut you down to the true joy and happiness you deserve, and to keep your mother from growing. So I would
Yes.
just acknowledge the guilt and say, you know what? Tell that little girl inside of you, I'm giving you permission to deviate, to do something different. Okay. And I'm giving you permission to say it out loud. It is scary. I mean, I, I don't know if you've heard me talk about it before, but I'm an intuitive. You guys know that I read y'all's energy all the time. My mom has had issue with that because it doesn't fit into her religious programming.
Yes. Yeah.
If I was in her church and I said, oh, I got a message from God, it would be okay, but I'm not in her church. And so now it's not from God, right? Well, to me, everything is of God. And so, there's an issue there for her. For me, I just look at her and go, you know what, I'm just going to keep standing in my truth. And what's so interesting is I've seen her, she's almost 80, over the years stand a little bit more in her truth. And I know that I have been that example for her. And I'm so glad I've given her that gift. So you think of it the same way, okay? You think of
Yes.
it the same way. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty. If you'll mute yourself, that would be awesome. And I will see if I can lower your hand. Why is it not giving me the option to lower your hand? Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that. Anybody else want to raise your hand? Anybody else want to ask a question? We have lots of time here. This is your opportunity to ask a question and see what is right for you. Okay, so this is from, okay, here's some comments. Sydney, the meditation and the dialogue with inner child has enabled to remember that divine love is unconditional and unconditional love is divine. Absolutely. Aligning to love means embracing all that arises with love and acceptance. And just like that, we can return to divine love and reunite with our inner divinity. Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, hold on a second, let me see. When we, if you go back to religion, it says we make up the body of Christ. If you're in Christianity, I don't know about all the other religions because I'm not a theologian. But to me, we make up the body of God. And if we all make up the body of God, then we are part of that divinity. And the more we align with our truth, standing in unconditional love and loving ourselves, then we align with our divinity. We align with our divine path. That's what I talk about in my worthiness quotient stuff, is that when you are out of alignment, when you're not loving yourself, you have a low worthiness quotient. So you don't feel like you can open up and receive love and nurturing and support because you resist love. But when you love yourself and you move into alignment with God and the way you were created, you're actually putting God first. Some people say, well, it's selfish to put yourself first. No, it's not selfish. When you are honoring and loving the way you were created, you are putting God first because you help make up the body of God. And by listening to that guidance and to that inner calling, then you move into alignment, you move into a high worthiness quotient. And now energetically, you say, yes, I'm worthy of receiving love, nurturing support. You draw it to you, and then you have more to give. So we always want to align with love. When, Jane, for you, going back to you, when you shut yourself down because you think you're hurting your mother, you're showing her what it means to perform. You're showing her what it means to have a low worthiness quotient. When you say, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be forthright, I'm going to share my truth with my mom, then you are showing her what it means to put God first and to align with love and to move in, as Sydney says, to your divinity. So let me see. Anne says, I'm afraid to touch people's lives and hearts because it could bring something up they can't handle, as in Le Petit Prince with the fox, that you're responsible for what you touch. I would disagree with that. I mean, you are going to touch people's lives when you bring up stuff. They have two options. They can be a victim or they can see it as a gift. It's up to the person. And if they choose to see it as a gift, then they will receive the gift and do the inner work. Or they can be a victim and blame you for their pain. And then you have to look at it as, okay, if I'm reacting to this and feeling like I'm to blame, I have to check in with myself and say, wait, no, I'm just being in my truth. I'm putting God first. I'm coming from a space of love. If you're reacting in any way, it's because that's your stuff. And you can't do anything about it. It's not your job, Jane, to control people, to fix it for them, to save them. That in itself, when we're doing that, that's a trauma response. And we feel like we have to save everybody. We're coming from a space of shame, like I have to do this to prove that I'm worthy of love. No, you don't. You just need to stand in your truth. You just need to stand in your truth. So Tammy, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to lower your hand and ask you to, oh, not lower your hand, unmute yourself. I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Okay. Just, you know what, you were talking about bringing in love. And lately I have noticed that when I feel unsafe or there is a sense that I need to move through the world kind of protecting myself or even, you know, kind of watching how I'm behaving, seeking approval, all those things kind of, there's a protection there. And I think it keeps me from feeling, allowing the love in that I want to be there.
Yeah, I would agree with you that we all do that. That is a very normal human behavior, is that we think if I protect myself, then I'm protected, right? Like if I shut down a little bit and I protect myself. But what you have to understand is energy. When you're shutting down and separating from who you are and the way you were created, and you're not letting love in, then you're coming from a low vibration, and that's going to attract things to you that are lower vibration. So you'll attract things that feel harder, that don't feel loving, that don't feel supportive. So you're really not being protected at all. But when you come from a space of I'm worthy and I'm letting love in, then you draw in more love. So now you're in a true state of protection. Now, protection is all relative, right? I mean, because things are going to happen, life is going to happen. But when you realize that you're letting love in and you feel supported and nurtured by the universe, by God, your guides, whatever you want to call it, then you know that no matter what happens in your life, that you have access to this help and this support. And that starts building on trust. Okay. You start trusting that no matter what happens, love shows up. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. So is there, I don't know if is there something you can do to clear that part of my heart that feels like it needs to stay protected, or something that I need to do to kind of, you know, walk through life with a little softer opening?
Yeah. You know, what I have seen over the years is that it was when my little inner child did not feel protected and didn't feel loved, and she felt like she was pushed in a corner, that I played safe. I played it really small. As I built my relationship with her and really built my relationship with my guides, okay, when I started reaching out to my guides and feeling like, okay, I'm calling on for help, and I do a daily practice, right? It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym one time, you're not going to build any muscle, right? But if you go daily, you're building that muscle. And so for me, it's the daily practice of connecting to my guides, connecting to my inner child, just doing this work. And what happens is that when you are connecting in that way, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel valued, you feel nurtured, you feel supported. And so now you feel safer. You start asking for more help. And as you get clearer in this, your intuition kicks in more. So you start following the guidance a little bit more. And then life gets easier. Okay. So it's really a daily practice. I wouldn't, if somebody said, oh, yeah, you just do this and it's done in a day. I would totally disagree. I have never known anyone who overnight made themselves feel safer. You know, if your mind is that powerful and you have that kind of power over your mind, then you need to be a master teacher. And really, you know, in reality, I don't know anyone who can do that, right? So it's a daily walk. You have to think of it as your walk of love. You have to think of it as, I'm going to practice this daily, and I'm going to keep loving myself. And I'm going to know that when I'm in protection mode, it's because that little kid inside of me is afraid, maybe something in the past. When I go into protection mode, I do the inner work. I go within and I look at the little girl inside of me and say, what's got you scared right now. And so by having that kind of conversation with her and then going to the belief, what's happening is you're coming out of the amygdala and you're moving into the front of your brain. And so the amygdala keeps us in fight or flight. You know, it keeps us in that heightened state, which puts us in protective mode. So we want to rewire the brain. When you talk to your inner child and you're talking to her and loving her and asking her what's hurting, what's causing you to go, you know, to be so afraid, and you release the belief, and then you take tiny steps of trust. So you say, how do I love you today? What is it that you need from me? And you take action. The trust begins to build more and more and more. So it's by doing that daily practice and rewiring the brain that you're going to settle down and not have to be in the protective mode so much.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good. Okay, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. Anybody else? Anybody else have a question they want to ask? Is there something you're working on in your life right now that maybe you know you're having a block around your career, a block around receiving more love? Are you having a block around receiving pleasure in your life? You know, I mean, or having a partner in your life? Are you, I mean, anything that can come to mind? Are you having an issue with a kid, with a parent, like we were talking about earlier? Anything like that is an opportunity for you to ask that question here. Or if it's more spiritual in matter, I mean, everything to me is spiritual, but if it's more of a, like, I really want to understand more about how spirit works or whatever, you know, if something comes up for you, this is your time to ask the question. And again, if you can't get the little button, because I know sometimes people can't find it, to raise your hand, just unmute yourself. And all you do is you hit the mic, click it, and you'll see the little red bar go away. Okay, somebody just raised their hand.
Hi,
Kiki.
Terri.
Hey, Kiki. Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm pretty good. This is a perfect subject for me. I do resist pleasure and
Mhm.
fun and love because, well, I get a really strong reaction when I do that. After I allow myself any kind of love or pleasure, enjoyment, some big monster comes up and says, no, you can't have that. You know, this voice inside of me just really strong. And I guess it's shame, blame, guilt. That would be the paradigm that's coming up that I feel. So the guilt punishment thing is there. But,
Right.
you know, it starts with a shaming
Sure.
thing. And I know
Well,
where it comes from, but I'm just so, well, like, how can I heal this? I mean, I just
sure.
can't even
So
tell
I'm
you how horrible it is.
No, I understand it because I've done that too a lot. Let me just look at your energy for a minute, Kiki, and see what I see. It's interesting because when I look at little Kiki, it's like you're holding her hand, but she has duct tape over her mouth. And she can't express what she wants. She can't express how she wants to be in the world. And so what I would ask you to ask her, because having fun, doing bigger things or whatever is you expressing yourself, right? So I want you to ask her a question. I want you to ask her, what are you ashamed of in yourself that says you deserve this kind of treatment? What are you ashamed of?
I'm not really sure. I'm getting that I'm ashamed of who I am.
Okay. So go a little deeper with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about who you are is the problem?
I don't know. It seems like it's everything. It's like what I do or what I say or what I don't say or what I don't do. It's kind of like a do,
Mhm.
don't do, like never good enough.
Right,
Of course, stuff like that.
right.
And being raised Catholic,
Mhm.
that would be like
Absolutely.
original sin, guilt,
Yes,
just sort of
absolutely.
jammed into your brain.
So can I throw something at you?
Sure.
Is it possible that you have shame because you don't want to conform?
Hmm. Well, that could be very true. Yes, conform. Yes, I resist all of that teaching.
Okay.
That's what I'm in resistance to, I guess.
It could be resistance to the religious teaching. It could just be resistance to if somebody's listening or watching and doesn't have religious background, but
Mhm.
just conforming to the family,
Sure.
conforming to the school system,
Yes.
conforming to the workplace.
Yes.
So we often have this, right? And I know for me, that's why I had so much shame, because when I didn't conform,
Mhm.
and that's why I could recognize this so easily, when I didn't conform, it rocked the boat. It made other people feel uncomfortable. And so, I was to blame. They would blame, I felt like I was blamed for their pain, when in reality it was me. A lot of it was me. Some of it was other people, my mom, and that I felt had, some of that. But it was
Mhm.
because I wasn't conforming.
Right.
And so when we are in our uniqueness, because you came in, to be a spiritual being, to be a spiritual mentor, and I mean, the work you've been doing for years, right? And
Mhm.
so you came in different.
Yeah.
You came in different.
Mhm.
And so when you come in different and you have a calling like you're being called to do, right?
Mhm.
So when you have that kind of calling, other people who don't really want to be in that, they're going to resist it somewhat, right? And then you start feeling like, well, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Was it with, I forget which person it was, might have been Jane, about needing to conform to her mom, right? To that way of being.
Right.
Then as soon as we break conformity, we feel guilty. We feel
Mhm.
shame, like I'm causing problems because I'm different.
Right.
And it feels like to me that when I look at you and I look at your feet, it's almost like there's nails in your feet.
Mm.
Okay. Like you are not supposed to step forward. You are supposed to stand still. You are not supposed to be out doing what you're here to do, because you're going to be breaking all the rules.
Right.
You're not conforming to this structure.
Right.
And that's what it feels like to me. It's like you are in a battle between that and spirit,
Mhm.
your soul calling you. So
Mhm.
I would invite you to visualize taking the nails out of your feet that are nailed into those concrete blocks, and take them
Mhm.
out and say, you know what? I'm giving myself permission to stop conforming and to quit beating myself up because I don't fit.
Right.
Right. And
Mhm.
it's interesting because we can talk about this, but to me, it feels like there's some deep inner work in your body that needs to be released. So what I'm seeing is maybe turning on some music,
Mhm.
dancing, and feeling your body of, I release conformity. I release the guilt. I release the shame. I give myself permission to be who I am. Okay. So it's like really getting into the body. And then if any emotions come up
Mhm.
that are stuck in your body, then allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to celebrate that the healing's happening. But that's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's very much stuck in your feet,
Mhm.
and it's stuck around here. I
Yeah.
don't feel any energy around here.
Mhm.
It's,
Yes, I've been having neck issues and Raynaud's in my foot, my left
oh,
foot, my
oh,
left
okay.
foot. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
it's
that.
your feet. So that's where I'm seeing is feet, the neck,
Mhm.
and even, through your head and stuff. So I would
Yeah.
encourage you to really think about those things and just visualize, dance, get up and dance and move. And it's almost like the somatic experience of letting it release from your body, but with
Mhm.
the intention, I am releasing conformity. I'm releasing my guilt. I'm releasing my shame. This is is great for everybody, right? I am releasing all of it, because when we're women leaders of love, we can't conform, right? And we can, but we're going to be miserable, because women leaders of love means we have to be our own entity. We have to be unique. We have to honor that. And when we're not, we're conforming. We're conforming and performing. Think of conforming equals performing.
Yes. Oh my.
Right. And performing makes you miserable. So, so that's what I'm seeing for you. It's like you're at these two different, you've got these two different things going on, and it's like a battle within, like, do I go here or do I go here? Well, you're wanting to go here. That's what you're here to do. Right.
Yeah.
But you keep getting drawn over here because of that belief that if I break conformity, then I'm going to create havoc, and you're really not. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier. You're not creating havoc. That spiritually, that, but it's in your body that you're creating havoc.
Right.
So that's why I want to invite you to go into your body.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Does that feel clear to you?
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay, good.
Also, I wondered about, you had a meditation. I think it was a soul meditation a couple weeks ago. And I wondered how I could access that, because I like to do a guided meditation in the
Was it my
morning.
grounding?
What's that?
Was it my grounding meditation?
I think so. It was more about your soul, connecting with your soul, and or maybe it was guides and whatever, but I just wanted to make sure that I like to record it, put it on my phone. So in the morning when I'm doing a meditation, I can choose to be guided.
Sure.
Because I don't want to just sit there and let my thoughts go, because they don't go in the right direction.
So I get it. I mean, when you have a guided meditation, it takes you deeper into that state, that meditative state, very much faster. Was it a freebie that I gave away with a link, or was it during our session?
It was during this session.
Okay, so all of the replays can be found on my website at terribritt.com/blog.
Okay.
So you'll just go down and you can be able to see the ones that are there, and I think you'll be able to find it. Maybe you'll just recognize that whatever I had on, who knows, right? But try that, okay?
So body release is the first step.
Yeah, I just feel that, I mean, anytime you can, go back and listen to the guides and stuff, that's great. But the body release is because we hold so much energy in our bodies that our bodies suffer, right? So, and to me, I heard a speaker one time say, your body is your densest part of your soul. And I went, oh my gosh, that's brilliant, because it really is, your soul's talking to you. So but your body, what I found, I used to say, I feel like my spirit's here, but my body is trying to catch up. And
the heaviness.
It was frustrating, right? Because I was like, my spirit was like all joyful and and then my body would just go, nope, you're not doing that. And so what I started understanding was that my body was holding energy that was a lower vibration, even though my spirit was feeling here, right? And so as I would go deeper into my body and releasing the energies of my body, that's when I started seeing a big difference, a really big difference. So, and it's through movement. Movement is always amazing. That's why yoga is so good. But for me, when you go with the intention of I'm moving and I'm releasing the shame, I'm releasing conformity, and let whatever comes up, wherever you felt judged because you tried to break conformity, any pain associated with that, let it come up and release it. Cry, do whatever you need to do, but do it. And then that way you're moving it out of your body.
Yeah, I think conformity was the perfect word there, because I didn't have that in my consciousness at all, but you're right on with that.
And you really have to think of conformity equals performing. Conforming equals performing. And it's like, that sucks, because if you're performing, you're not in alignment. And you're miserable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty, if you will mute yourself. And then I see Jane, Jane, did you lower your hand, or did it not get lowered before and you've got your hand back up? If you do, Jane, and you want to open this back up, you can open back up.
I just had an additional, thank you, Kiki, for your sharing as well. If the question I had, it's also about myself, like that I deceived myself because I had at that time my own definition of success, and
Mhm.
then I felt yes, not matching
It's
that.
it's the same thing, you know, it's like you have rules in your mind that you think you're supposed to live by. That's the ego. And that's what you were doing with your mom, and you were doing it with yourself. And so, you know, you have to look at, okay, what is true for me, not what my ego says that's going to help me conform. Okay. Because the ego is going to help you conform. The ego is going to keep you in survival mode. Your soul is going to break you away from that. So we want to move away from the ego and we want to move into the soul. So your ego is saying, well, I am deceiving myself. Here's a kicker for you. When you don't listen to your soul, you're actually betraying yourself. Okay. So when you don't honor who you are and the way you were created and listen to the guidance of your soul, you betray and you lose trust. Okay. It's like that little kid inside of you is going, wow, you're not listening at all. And how do I trust you? And then of course, because you're not feeling supported by the universe, you start taking it, and we know, I'm not saying you, but we start taking it out on the universe around us, or the people around us going, well, you know, it's not working out, and universe, you're stuck. No, it's because we're betraying ourselves. And so we feel betrayed by the universe. We feel that we're being betrayed by the people around us, when in actuality it's because we're doing it to ourselves. So you think you're deceiving yourself by wanting to break away from conforming and performing. But when you don't break away, you're betraying yourself. How's that for food for thought?
Makes very sense. Yes.
So do you want to deceive or do you want to betray? I would rather deceive and break those rules. And instead of thinking of it as deceiving, thinking I'm taking back my power, I'm taking back the authority of my life. See, when you think of the word deceiving, it's like you're making others the authority. You're making your ego the authority. You're making your mother the authority. So you're deceiving. So you have to hide from the authority. It's like hiding from the police. But that is not bringing you into a space of love, right? So and you're betraying yourself. But when you move over here, you're shining your light and you're not hiding from anything. So that's what you have to remember. Here's where you shine. Here's when you're in alignment. Here's where you're worthy. Does that help a little bit?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty, guys. Let me just see if you will lower, let me see if I can lower your hand. You did that already. Let me see what the thoughts over here. Sydney says, thank you for the guidance, how to clear and align our energy so we can flow with the life we were meant to live. Absolutely. And so Cindy says, I have read that opening to divine love includes elements of permission, acceptance, and forgiveness. Could you give more details about forgiveness stage? Well, absolutely. So permission, this is really interesting. I used to have this acronym that I'd use. It was called cleaning out the crap, and the crap was the acronym, and the C was committing to loving yourself unconditionally. R was taking full responsibility. A was going into awareness. And P was recognizing when you were performing and giving yourself permission to stop it. Okay. So that's how you clean out the crap out of your life. And I had a class called cleaning the crap out of your relationships. So this is really fun. So that's the permission level. The acceptance is moving into a state of, you know, what is accepting, this is what is, this is who I am, and loving yourself. Forgiveness, for me, the forgiveness comes into looking at the basic ones. Okay. And I talk about this in my Worthiness Quotient course, is looking at your labels, looking at the mistakes you've made. And instead of seeing them as what you consider mistakes, seeing them as, like I said earlier, about when she was talking about deceiving, and I said, well, what was the gift? And she said, well, I got out of my comfort zone. So mistakes, if we look at the silver lining, can often be some of our greatest gifts. So I start looking at forgiveness that way. Okay. We do this in the Worthiness Quotient course. We go deep into forgiveness. It's session 4, looking at your labels. So those are some of the things that you can start doing right now is saying, where am I holding judgment on myself? Now, one of the best ways to do that is to watch how you judge other people. Because if you are in judgment or maybe not even judging someone, but you compare yourself to them, that's a sure sign that you're holding beliefs about yourself, that something's wrong with you, that you're not lovable, you're not likable, that you're not good enough. And so by going in and asking what the beliefs are, you're moving into a state of forgiveness of how you think you should be, and then moving into real acceptance of who you are. So Sydney, tell me if that makes sense for you, and if there's any more clarity you need. You can write that, or you can open up your mic. It's whatever you want to do. You know, it's interesting. And I'll give you a moment to write something if you want to write anything. When I got on my journey, and you guys have heard my story, my dad died, and I saw that he had no forgiveness of himself. He didn't let love in. When you have guilt, when you have shame, you're holding on these old energies, you don't let love in. And I saw that Daddy could not receive our love. I knew in the moment that he died that I was a lot like him. I didn't forgive myself. So the journey of forgiving myself, and this is probably the bigger picture, was recognizing that when I was performing, I was perpetuating a lack of forgiveness, saying that who I am is not enough. I was perpetuating guilt and shame. And as soon as I started loving the little girl inside of me, and giving her permission to stand in her truth and releasing the beliefs that said I had to be a certain way, that was an act of forgiveness. That was an act of truly moving into unconditional love. So that is the way I look at forgiveness. Some people may see it differently. So Sydney said, yes, she got it. Thank you. For me, when we commit to unconditional love, unconditional self-love, we do several things. We say, no matter what, I'm going to listen to my inner guidance, and I'm going to stand in my truth. So unconditional love is standing in your truth. But that truth often goes against the grain of what everyone else is doing, conformity. So just saying I'm stepping out of this is an act of acceptance, but it's also an act of forgiveness. When you're hurting, compassion is another part of it. That's why I'm always saying, talk to your inner child, ask her what's hurting. Compassion is another key to moving into unconditional self-love. So if we can look at these things and what do I need to forgive in myself? You know, what shame am I holding on to? Did I feel like I was to blame for everyone else's pain? By loving yourself and recognizing universal truths, you know, the universal truth is, unless you're doing something intentionally to hurt someone, you're not to blame for their pain. If they get triggered by you, that's because that's their spiritual journey. They're working through something, and you may be that trigger. Okay. And so I just want to invite you to think about, okay, I can only love me. The more love I have for me, the more compassion and kindness and gentleness and forgiveness, the more I'm going to have for other people. Whether I trigger someone or not, I can't save them. We each have to save ourselves. We each have to do the inner work. If you can get grounded in that, that frees you up to be a woman leader of love. That really helps you own your worth. When we get so caught up in, I need to be good and do it right for everyone else, we're creating pain and suffering. There's no other way to put it. We're creating it for ourselves. We hold that vibration on the planet. We hurt the planet, the people we come in contact with, that we're judging because we haven't cleaned up our judgments. You know, there's a biblical verse that says, clean out the plank in your eye rather than looking at the speck in someone else's eye. You know, when you are judging, people can feel that. But worst of all, you can feel it. So when you make the decision to heal and to own your worth, you are truly, truly being a gift to the planet. That's why I do these calls, because I know for myself over the years, when I didn't own my worth, even though I was a former Miss USA, even though I was a television broadcaster, what's now the E channel was Movie Time back then. I was the news anchor. I got to cover the Cannes Film Festival and the Academy Awards. I was an overachiever, but I did not own my worth. And I constantly performed, and I was miserable. I always was defensive. I was always blaming others. And then when I started doing my spiritual work, I started blaming myself instead of saying, well, what's mine is mine, and then this is yours. I mean, it was constant punishment in my life. So I want to invite you to just think about that every time you love yourself deeper, you are being a beautiful gift to yourself and to the people around you and to the planet. I don't know if you guys saw in the news a couple of weeks ago where Chesley Christ, who was Miss USA from a couple of years ago, jumped off the high rise in New York City and killed herself. And I read an article where her mother said she had high functioning depression, but she was constantly performing, constantly going after that next accolade and achievement, but there was always this emptiness. And when you look at that, I mean, everybody's searching for peace and fulfillment. The only way to find that is when we go inside of ourselves and do this work that we're talking about. And there you feel fulfilled because you're full of spirit, you're full of love, you feel supported. And that is true worth. Most people who say, I've owned my worth, do not feel that feeling. They do not feel the sense of, I am peaceful, I'm balanced and fulfilled. And we're human, and we're going to go in and out of it. But I'm just talking about an overall being that is inside of you that feels so good. That's why, I feel so called to do this work. And I really appreciate all of you who take a stand for doing this on a weekly basis and joining us. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up for today. Let's do a little mini meditation to say thank you and send each other on our way. So I want to invite you to go back to that place of being grounded, and hopefully you got something from today. Hopefully you have an awareness of something about yourself that you're ready to celebrate, that maybe you're releasing something or you're receiving something and you realize, I'm letting more love in. As of today, I'm letting more love in. So let's just give thanks for everyone who showed up today, who had the courage and the willingness to share their hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you to each of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for our guides who are here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for our inner children who have shown up. And we just give thanks to each other for having the courage to be women leaders of love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Feeling that energy, letting more love in, feeling it from each person who's sending it your way as you send it to each person in this group and all the women around the planet who are doing this inner work. Breathing through this. And when you're ready, you can come back into this space. So one last time, if you want to take the quiz, I would encourage all of you to go take the quiz. It's terribritt.com/quiz and take the Worthiness Quotient quiz and just see where you need to own your worth more, where you need to love yourself more. And then for those of you, and that's for anyone, whether you're on the Zoom call or not. And then also my terribritt.com/leaders, which is my free Worthiness Quotient breakthrough bundle. It explains what we are as women leaders of love. And there's 3 meditations. Both of those free gifts will get you into our system so that you'll get a link to this call each week, the Zoom portion, if you want to come on. And then if you haven't taken the Worthiness Quotient course, I really want to invite you to do it. We dive deep into all of this. It has 18 healings in it, 18 that are deep, deep, deep. The things that I've seen that have been issues for the people I've been working with over the 20 years that really keep your worthiness at a low vibration. And again, our goal is to get it at high. So you can go to terribritt.com/webinar and watch my story, or you can go straight to terribritt.com/worthy and see the landing page to learn more about it. So Jane says, thank you everyone for your sharing. Happy Women's Day in advance to everyone. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jane, because we will be on together the day after. So this week, think about yourself and what you're doing to lead with love and being that woman. And this is Women's History Month. So make history for yourself, right? Make history for yourself. Be in that space of loving yourself and know that every time you are holding that space of love for yourself, you are touching people's lives, whether you know it or not. All right. Y'all have a good one, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.